Hello and welcome to our podcast, Connecting and Supporting Others. I am Mira Reis and I am delighted to have you here with us. Enjoy. Hello, I am very pleased to welcome our guest today. She's Diane. She is actually a member of our Academy of Holistic Freedom and she has a very, very special job. Welcome, Diane. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much for asking me. My name's Diane and I'm a grief and results coach. And I help people with their grief and understanding their losses. And also I can also help people that are just stuck in life and need to help moving forward.
Great. So maybe we can start with our first question. So what is your true calling? What is your mission?
My mission really is to help people that feel that they are just stuck in life and to make sure that there's nobody out there that's going through grief without any kind of support. As much as we have friends and family that gather around us at these times, to have somebody that isn't connected to you that can actually listen and help support you and give you that space to say what's truly in your heart is so important to me. So that's kind of what's behind my mission. Not really formed it into a statement yet, but this is what I'm wanting to very much do for people, to be that support.
Yeah, it's great actually, because really in this time it's very important, that we know that somebody is listening to us. And actually, sometimes it's not so easy to listen. We are so busy and we prefer to talk, not to listen. So, and encourage people, to know that there is somebody who is always ready to listen and to support, that there is a space for this. It's great, great. I'm very happy that we have this opportunity to talking to you. Okay.
So important because friends and family want to try and fix and stop you from crying or being so upset, which is actually what you need to be in that space and be allowed to do. So by having a professional person, I think, to help guide you through that, then it's okay to just say anything that's in your heart to get it through, to help you in your steps to recovery, not from the point of view of moving on from the person that you've lost, because I don't really believe in that concept, because I believe people still come with us. It's just that it helps you integrate it and have it settle and become a part of you, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe, what, I think it would be great if you can share your story. What brought you, to this amazing job, what you are doing just now?
Okay. So I've been a master practitioner of NLP since 2004. And the journey has helped me with my husband, who had a long-term illness, and coaching him, and also then helping clients and make great transformations along the way. But nothing prepared me for when I actually lost him, when he died in 2016. And being in that sort of heavy state of grieving and fighting the depression with the tools that I had to hand, was helping me from sort of day to day, moment to moment, but it wasn't helping me move out of the pain that I was carrying. And none of my tools seemed to be helping me at that time. And the truth of it is, there's no amount of psychoanalyzing that's ever going to help when it's your heart that's been broken. That 3 months after losing him, my little sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she died the following year. And in between these two major, significant losses in my life, I came across the grief recovery method. And that's an educational program that actually gives you the steps to help you in your recovery. But understand it's from the pain you're carrying, not the person. So, because if it would have been like, you're going to forget about your husband, then, well, that wasn't going to happen at all, was it? It's the pain that you're carrying in your heart. And it felt like a stabbing pain. Like there was literally a knife in my heart until I completed that program. And then an energy just came through my body, dissipated the pain. And then that pain had also felt like a block spiritually between the two of us, because we were one of those couples that communicated without really words sometimes, and we'd have to say, did we have that conversation out loud? And that seemed to have been shut off, and that was more painful, I think, than anything, to think that that was gone. But I had to also understand that I was having to let go of my hopes, dreams and expectations, because he was due to have a liver transplant, and sadly, you know, we nearly got to the point he was having it when he died. So we were always planning what we were going to happen next, what we were going to put out there, and what we were going to do in the future. So I had to say goodbye to that, and that was part of the pain that I was hanging on to. And so when I did that, it dissipated and moved to the sort of beside me. So I know he's around me, and the connection came back, and I just felt so relieved. But in my head, because I go in myself a lot and check out what's going on when I'm going through these experiences, because I think as a therapist too, it helps you with other people when you're doing the coaching. And we have these synapses and connections in the brain, and I could literally feel that when I lost him, that sponginess that we feel, that dopamine that's dropped down, because the amount of electricity that goes up with shock and trauma is enough to blow your hat off. So you're in that spaciness and you can't function properly. That's what's happening in that space. But also what you've known up to that point, it's like it's been ripped apart. And that's exactly what's happened. If you think about the wiring in the back of a computer, somebody's gone round and pulled the wires out the back of the computer. So you know you were with this man for 31 years, you know you've had children and a family, but these bits were just doing this in that sponginess forever until I completed this program. And I sat there and I could feel them. As soon as I had the acceptance that hopes, dreams and expectations were gone, those wires, I could feel them in my head, finding somewhere else to land. And that helped too with the peace. So there's kind of like the sciencey bit that was going on inside, as well as the emotional and spiritual part of connecting and letting go of the pain I was carrying. That's not to say it doesn't arrive when I have something comes crosses my path that, you know, like we went on, I took my boys on holiday in the November 2017. And in the middle of the pool, I burst into tears because I realized my playmate wasn't with me anymore. They'd gone off with their playmates. And I was like, Billy, no mates. And I was like, so things will happen. But the thing is, then you say to yourself, right, okay, do I need to do any work on this? Or is it enough to know and acknowledge it and let it go? And for me, up to now, it has been. Just acknowledging it instead of pushing stuff down inside, which will cause depression, stress and anxiety and all these other things that often get misdiagnosed by doctors. Then, you know, once you learn how to do these things, you can just accept and understanding grief as an emotion. It's not something that you just have every now and then. It's what we do when we experience a loss of any kind. And it's just how attached to that loss we are as to how much we will grieve.
Great. I do love this. Actually, you know, I would like to say two things. That first, I do love that, you know, you are actually helping people and you have been in their shoes. I think the best way, because when we read only, you know, theory and never, you know, we're in this pain, it's, you know, we can help, but actually we can't, you know, we can't support people to find the best way for them. And second, what I do love, it's about accepting. Really, when we start to accepting everything, it's easy to accept. We are happy, we have what we want, but it's not so easy for us to accept stuff which we call like negative. I really don't like the word negative, because everything what we call negative are actually only lessons which we need to learn to our life to develop. Because when you have only this happiness, we don't develop, we stay on the same place, you know. So it's really, I'm very happy you shared with us this story. And I do believe a lot of people can, you know, realize that it's how important it is, you know, to accept what's going on in our life. Yeah.
Well, if we push the negativity down and not accept it, then that's when it's so stressful on the body to hold that down, and people will put it in a box with a lid on it and even nail the lid shut. But eventually at one point that lid's going to come off, it's going to fly off, and it might be that somebody has just asked you to pass the salt on the table. And you go like, salt, I'll give you salt, and it's got nothing to do with the salt, it's just all this stuff that's found an avenue to come up. So, you know, yes, absolutely, go and talk to somebody to just have a little openness with that and see if there is something that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so we can move to our second question, which is, imagine that you have a superpower and you can travel back in the time, and you meet there young Diane, you know, is there anything you would give her? Okay, listen to me, it will be good when you do this, or what is your opinion about this?
Very hard question for me, because as much as you could say, right, I'd go back and I would change this, that and the other, because funnily enough, we were talking about this recently with friends, actually to change anything doesn't, you know, I am where I am today and doing what I am doing today because of the life journey I've had. So to go back and then make some tweaks or make some better decisions, it's all part of life and learning. So possibly I would go back and tell the younger me to not worry so much about the diet, to just maybe exercise a bit better, because it's really, you know, in my late 40s that I started doing triathlon. So, you know, I would have liked to have perhaps done a little bit more of that. I've always been sporty to a degree, but as support for the children, like when they wanted to do handball, I became a handball coach. You know, and this kind of thing when they went swimming, you know, so I would probably tell myself, you know, to have a little think about that, but that's about it really.
Yeah, great, thank you. And I love your, you know, approach. This is really true. You know, when we go back and change, everything is changing, and we actually went through our life because we were supposed to go this way. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And now the last question, you have other superpower. Imagine it's a lovely sunny day and you can be a rainmaker. You can make a lovely rain, but still sunshine is on the sky and huge rainbow is in the sky. And you can put in this rainbow your advice to everybody who is ready to receive it. You know, you manifest your energy. And when I look there, hey, I know I receive your advice. What you will put in this rainbow, please?
Start to learn and understand grief as an emotion will empower you going forward in life in so many ways. We're not taught it in schools. We only learn it from our parents by usually, you know, watching what they do when they have grief come into their lives. So it's a hard subject for, I think, parents to know to start talking to their children about. But if you can do that, when the child, say, for example, has a hamster that dies, that, you know, and the child's upset and crying, the parent more likely would say, you know, oh, stop crying, we'll go and get you a new hamster. But actually they're not thinking about the relationship that child's got with a hamster. So it's an opportunity for them to have that conversation. How are you feeling about your hamster? Tell me about your friend. And sit down and start that space to be able to talk. So that would be my superpower, because that kind of thing is teaching a child to replace a loss. That's what you do when you're sad. So if you sort of bring that forward in life, how many people do you know that go from one relationship to another, or possibly even look for a new relationship before they've even finished with the one they're in, because they don't want that pain of loss?
Yeah. So
that would be my advice to anybody in that rainbow is, don't be afraid of grief. Take a deep breath and start to understand it and learn about it, because it will empower you.
Yeah,
because sadly we will have these losses in life. They reckon about 45 losses in life throughout our lifetime. Imagine if you had those losses, and instead of reacting for a long time, because I mean, we are human, having spirits having a human experience. So for us to go in and say, well, you're not going to respond to everything. It's not. It's about having that moment, but not being stuck in it.
Yeah.
Helping you give the tools so that you can, after the time and you process it and you know what to do, you've got the help and the skills to go forward and have a happier life, even, without living your life in that pain. So that would be definitely something I would put into that rainbow. Yeah,
great. Yeah, it's really nice advice. To be honest, actually, our culture, like death and everything is like a huge taboo. We don't like to talk about this, but it's just normal. It's just normal circle in our life. Everything is starting and dying. But oh no, don't talk. In Eastern, about this culture, it's just normal. In some
it's almost like the price of loving somebody, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the fear, is that I love this person so much, I just don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
The death. But when you understand, it's also applied to all losses in your life. So that could be health, finances, pets, career moves, moving from country to country like you have.
Yeah.
You've left friends, family behind, especially in this last 18 months must have been awful for a lot of people that didn't have family close by.
Yeah.
Those are all losses.
Yeah.
And then even loss of freedom because we've had to stay indoors. So, but understanding that on that level can also help you when we have the bigger impacts in life and leave those people that are mean the world to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did enjoy our talk. Maybe we can have others sometimes in the future. Okay.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Have a lovely time. So thanks again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.